Welcome back to Cardigan Bay Fishing Adventures. For anyone that doesn't know, I am David Barber. When working on the boat, I've been absolutely flat out. We've got quite a bit done, to be fair. You can see the boat is now back upright. What I'll do is do a quick walk around, show you what's going on, show you what's been done, and then explain the process of what I'm doing today. So I'm going to do is have a quick walk around with the camera. You can see the hull is now white. It's all been sprayed, the whole lot, and I've wrapped it all and tried to protect it the best I can. It's turned out really nice. I don't know how well you can see it from there. What I've been up to since I've had it flipped back, I've put a bracket right there to support this gunnel. I've only put one in at the moment and it's working great. As you can see, the rear deck is also installed. I've put one layer of matting on it just to hold everything in place. The well has been bonded in. I'll show you now. The next thing that I've done, I've bonded the well in. I used these plates here and there was tops on it, which are probably around here somewhere. These parts. So these was attached here. I kept these on when I originally cut the well off just to help me get it back in a nice position, and it worked perfectly. So behind here is bonded. As you can see, that's not even fiberglassed. This is just Gravicol bonding paste. So I've put it in these parts here, clamped it. I put weight on the front just to squish it in. So today now the process is fiberglass all of this in together. So I'm going to fiberglass all the top, sort of let it go off a little bit. It gets a bit tacky. So then when I fiberglass underneath, this fiberglass on the underside will stick to the stuff on the top. Make my life a little bit easier. Fiberglassing upside down is a nightmare. You get resin all over you, it can be a messy job. So right now, I'm going to be fiberglassing this part because there's a lip here. Maybe 4 or 5 mil. So I'm going to be building the centre out and curling it over the top. Obviously, all of this is sealed. You obviously can see the cross section of the transom there. This is sealed. It's covered in layers and layers and layers of resin, but I do want to fold the glass over the top of it to protect it even more. So that's it for today, really. We're going to be fiberglassing all of this well in. I've not done much videoing of late, if you want to call it that. The reason why, it's been a lot of sanding, a lot of filling, a lot of sanding, a lot of filling, and a lot of sanding. There's been nothing exciting to show you. The spray painting, there was no point me trying to show you the spray painting because I've never done it before. So I'll probably totally doing it all wrong, and then you would have picked up my bad habits. Since doing the hull, the primer, the high build primer, and the 2-pack polyurethane top coat, I have learnt a lot. So when we come to spray this top section, I will record it. I'll show you the paint mixing. I'll show you the reductions that I used in the paint, spray gun setup. I'll show you everything that I did. I'm hoping the top turns out as good, if not better, than the bottom. So yeah, today I'm gonna do some fiberglassing. I'll show you a little bit of what I'm doing. I've already acetoned all of this. Everything's been cleaned. I've got some mat up there already cut. There's some more somewhere else as well. A little bit more there. So yeah, I'm gonna do this bit first. And then this whole day today is just going to be layering and layering and layering glass onto this. This has to be strung. By the time this is finished, I want to be able to stand in it, which I know that sounds a bit daft, but I'm having a ladder here. So if anyone ends up in the water or you need to get back in the boat, your foot goes here. So I want to tie all this in really strong. We'll be using chop strand matting, which you can see up there hopefully. And there's also something called woven. We'll also be using that, which gives it strength. The chop strand matting is a bit more of a filler. It's not got much strength to it. So anyway, let's start waffling and let's get on with it. So what we're doing here is mixing up a little batch of resin. I'll show you the resin that I'm using. Hopefully you can see because the sun is really bright. It's MB Fiberglass. They're a company from Ireland. I have paid for all this myself. It's not endorsed, sponsored, nothing like that. I'm using polyurethane laminating resin. Laminating basically means once I've put this on and it goes off, I can fiberglass straight back on top of it without having to keep sanding in between it all. So basically this, you can just layer it and layer it and layer it. That does mean when you are finished, you really need to coat it in something like PVA or a paint to seal it off because it is still open and still tacky-ish. But yeah, it's 446 PA. This is Lloyd's approved, so it's approved for marine use. Some fiberglass resins are not, but this one is. And these are 5 kilo tubs. I've gone through insane amounts. So what I've got in this tub here is 500 grams. What I personally do is weigh it out. I find it easier. And it's got the measurements on here. So it's simple really. You got 500 grams to mix a 1% ratio, you just add 5 grams. It's simple. A lot of the time I do mix it at 2%, so it just kicks a little bit quicker and it goes through the process quicker. In here is the catalyst. It's easier just to dispense it out of this. You squeeze a bottle, fills it up, get the scale on, and I'm going to add 10 grams to this. I want this to go off a little bit quicker. So 10 grams is 2%. It doesn't take a lot. We're at 9 grams there. We're going to end up jumping to 11. I bet you. 11. Little lollipop sticks. Easiest way to mix it, I find. And then this, you want to give it a good mix for a good 2 minutes. You'll find the resin's a bluish colour. This resin is anyway. And then it'll change colour. It goes more green when it's thoroughly mixed. I've got everything ready over there by the transom. I've got my brush, I've got my consolidation roller. It's all been acetoned already. And that's the stuff that I've been using right there. So you're better off if you buy acetone, buy it in a big tub. That one costs 30 quid, but if you buy it in litre tubs, it's usually 6, 7, 8 quid a tub. So if you know you're going to be doing a boat rebuild, just buy a 5 litre tub. I made the mistake of that in the beginning, buying the little tubs all the time. So I've mixed that for ages. You can see it's going a greeny colour. I don't know if you can see that on the camera, but it is going a greeny colour. When you're mixing it, scrape around the edges as well and everything. So we've got our resin mixed up now. So to start off with, what we're going to do is coat the surface. Get it on there. Give it a good coat everywhere. You can put in glass. What this does, it saves you a lot of hassle. It helps the mat stick to what you're fiberglassing straight away. And on top of that, the underside starts to get soaked in resin straight away. It just makes your life easier. When I first started doing this, as you may have seen in previous videos, I was putting the glass on, then putting the resin on, but it takes a lot longer to get it to soak through the matting. It will soak through, it just takes longer. Normally, I slap this on and it's dripping everywhere and it does make a bit of a mess when I'm fiberglassing anywhere inside. Here, I'm working in stages, so I want to try and keep as clean as possible. As you can see, there is enough resin on there now. So, I'll grab some matting. So normally, this is matting now, as you can see. I don't normally cut the edge like this. I've cut this with scissors. This edge has been torn. This feathers out nicely. So when this goes in the boat now, these square edges are going to help me build out the centre, and I can fold this over and this will be hidden down here. Chop strand matting is double-sided. I don't know if you can tell the difference on the camera. This is the side you want facing out. This side has got like less binder in it. The strands stand up. It makes it a bit more difficult to use. You can use it that way. It doesn't make a difference. You can't put it on rung as such. But that's the side I want facing outwards. So, just going to line it up where I need it. So what we're going to do now is start to soak it with resin. You'll find when you're using this stuff, it doesn't want to lay down. The resin breaks the matting up, it soaks into it, and the more resin you get on it, you'll see the difference with it. It'll start to sit down where you want it to sit down. You can use a roller for this. I'm just using a brush because I'm working in a smaller area. The edges of everything up on this has been rounded off. You don't want any 90-degree edges, because if you do, the glass will not go round it. It doesn't like sharp edges. Maybe I should have just used a roller, would have been a bit quicker. This is the first layer I'm putting on. I can go crazy with the resin, because the resin will soak into the next layer of mat. I'm going to start off initially here, I think, with 4 layers, and see how we go. I probably will need more. I don't know how well you can see it on the camera, but you got the thickness of this original well right there. I want to build this out to match it up. The best I can anyway. Makes my life easier when it comes to the prep. And you'll find this now, as this resin starts to break up this matting and break up the binders in the mat, it'll go translucent. You'll actually see through it. But it does take a while for the resin to soak in, but as soon as it does, you'll see the matting just lays down nice. As long as you've got no 90 degrees corners. So, what I'm going to do with this quickly, I wouldn't normally do it on the first one, but I'm going to go over here with a consolidation roller. and that's one of those little fins. What this does is helps break the matting up a bit more, pushes out any air and any excess resin. Sorry about the squeak on it. I just want to make sure we've got no air pockets behind this at all. You could put on 2 or 3 layers. But I'm going to just do it in stages like I'm doing here now. I am worried about this edge. This edge has to be perfect. I don't want to be having any air pockets in that edge there. So I want to make sure this mat is sitting down nicely on that edge. And this is it now. We're just going to keep layering it up. So this is why I've not done many videos, because YouTube is flooded with stuff like this. So there's nothing I can really add to the videos, and it's just flooding it with more of the same. But obviously you do want to see the build. Some people do. And we've done a lot recently. I've been booking time off work to get it done. The plan is get this top side done and get it painted. Obviously, what I should be doing really now is fitting all the deck, fitting the bulkheads, the lockers, all of that, and spray it at the end. Because of the time frame with the weather, I'm needing to do it a bit backwards. I need to get it painted ASAP. The deck and the rest of it can be done in colder temperatures, but I can't spray paint. And the problem is, if I wait, I ain't going to be spraying this boat till next June or July probably. So I want to get it done now. I'll have to just wrap it and protect it as best I can. So this is it. What I'm going to do is just carry on with this. And I'll bring you back in a bit when I start fiberglassing another part of it. So what I'm going to do now, I've got a little piece of woven woven. Obviously the engine's been bolted on this part. This is strong as anything anyway, but I want to use woven to tie this well into the transom. What's really, really important with woven is, this is chop strand, which you need to lay woven on top of it and sandwich it in between. Woven doesn't laminate well to stuff, it'll peel, sort of. So you need to make sure you've got this underneath it and on top of it. I have already put chop strand there and curled it up behind that. We've got 3 layers of chop strand here, and we've got 1 layer there. So I'm gonna get another layer of chop strand, rest it in place there, and then next will be a layer of woven on top of this. But you can't have woven on its own, it has to be on top of chop strand. You will see on a lot of videos on YouTube, people just using straight woven. You can't. Well, you can, but it's not going to be as strong as it should be structurally. You will have problems with it. Basically, it just needs a good bed. So the chop strand gives it that, and it'll be strong as anything and get really good adhesion. So this resin is going off already, so I've got to be quick. Make sure that corner and everywhere's soaked nicely. Give it a quick roll. Make sure I've got no air trapped in here before I put the woven on. So what will happen now, I'll get this woven on and then 1 more layer of chop strand on top and move on to another area and let this go off. Personally, I don't do more than 6 layers in one hit because of the heat that gets generated. I've got about a 2-inch overlap there, so I can get more on top of this after. Woven doesn't take too much resin either to get it saturated. The chop strand drinks the stuff. So as you can see there, we've got a layer of woven in. So what we'll do is make sure there's no air trap behind this, get chop strand on top to cover it all. I can see there's no air in this, but I just want to be sure. Give it a quick roll before the chop strand goes on top. And then we'll leave this area alone and let it go off a little bit. But you've already seen the strength in this just with the paste, never mind the glass. The key to fiberglassing, organisation. Have everything to hand, have it ready, and you won't have a problem then. So as you can see, that's the process for all of it. So there's no point keep videoing it because it's all the same basically. I'm going to be doing that edge all the same. This is the same. This is going to need quite a few more layers just to build up the thickness back to the original well. But all of it will be having a minimum of 6 layers. A very minimum. With woven sandwiched in between. So we've got plenty of strength there. I mixed up the perfect amount, that's just lucky. It's just in case I forget about this woven. I want to put some just over the top of it like this. So I know the woven's been sandwiched. But this is definitely having more layers, so it's not the end of the world if I didn't do this bit. There will be a hole drilled in here as well. But we'll wait till it's finished and I'll put the hole in the position I want it then. So that's used ½ kilo of resin. Gives you an idea how much you'll go through. And it's £130 for 25 kilos. Where I'm buying it from anyway. Not including postage, that's on top. It's mental money. So if you want to fully restore a boat, make sure you win the lottery first. If you're just doing repairs, it's not that bad. But to fully restore one of this age, it's not really worth it. Unless you're keeping hold of it, which I will be. I'm not selling this boat. So now I'm going to take my time, make sure there's no air in this at all. We'll let this go off for a few hours and we'll come back and glass it again. Basically we need it to kick, meaning we need the chemical reaction because it'll build up heat now. I think it gets up to around 65 or 75 degrees for the chemical reaction, that's what it does. And then at that temperature, that's where it starts to go off. But if the layers are super thick, it gets a lot hotter, which can cause fires, can cause it to go brittle, can cause all sorts of problems. So you're better off, don't go too crazy in the beginning. Yeah, this is looking nice. The edges are nice, the corners are nice. Around these, look, it's perfect. This won't actually need too many more layers to get it up. That's good. I think this has had 5 or 6 layers. So that's very tidy, I like that, it's good. I'm gonna give this a clean in acetone. Give this brush a clean in acetone. If you clean the brush in acetone, you can keep using it for a little bit. Yeah, let this go off. We're gonna move on to somewhere else. We've got to do this as well. I've got a fiberglass over here, down and curl it under the back here. So let's get on with it. So this is day 2 of doing the well. Unfortunately, I've lost all the sound. I've got an issue with the microphones over the next few videos. Here you can see I've tied it round all the gunwales, around the sides, everywhere. I've done all the tops of the transom, as you can see. So everywhere has been done. As you can see, all the sides are done. It's absolutely solid. I'm walking around here now to show you closer because there's like a profile on there which I had to get it flat and matching in. It was a flipping nightmare, to be totally honest. I've done all the edges up there. The underside at this stage has not been done. I'm going to do it at a later stage. I decided again to do it. But as you can see, it's solid. I can actually stand in it. I weigh around 100 kilos and that's not been fiberglass on the underside yet. So it's super, super strong, just the way I needed it. So yeah, this was just a quick walk around showing you what has been done. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Please consider subscribing and I'll see you in the next one.